When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
AD 800.
We're having such an interesting discussion during the break. Almost forgot that we had a show to do. Continuing here on the third hour of the Elias Macko Show. Our guest in studio is Eric Duhaime. He's a leader of the Conservative Party of Quebec, and he is going through an interesting time with the Francophone media. Because this week, the Francophone media discovered something in a poll from earlier in the month. And that is, Quebec Liberal Party has been dropping with non-Francophones. That's you, by the way, allos and anglos. And it looks like the Conservative Party of Quebec has been making inroads due to that drop of support for the Liberals. Eric Duhaime, welcome back to the show.
Always a pleasure, Elias.
Oh, let's get your mic on. We got your mic.
Always a pleasure, Elias.
Fantastic. So, first things first, how's the Ford Explorer big tour SUV?
It's unbelievable. Over the last 3 weeks, I've done over 6,000 kilometers. It's you know that Quebec is huge, right?
Yes.
And going from Sept-Îles to Abitibi is quite a road.
Oh, no wonder you want to get rid of the gas tax. It's just for you personally. My goodness.
Now you understand everything.
Okay, let's talk. First things first, right? So let's talk about maybe the trip you're doing media rounds-wise.
Yeah. This
week. Journal de Montréal and others basically have picked up on something we had earlier in the month, which is Anglophones are saying, okay, allophones and Anglophones are saying, maybe we should look at the Conservative Party of Quebec. So tell me about what happens when you're questioned by the French media on the subject about why you are growing. What do you tell the French media?
Well, I tell them that it's not, it's a momentum. I mean, it didn't happen overnight. It's not surprising when you think that, Dominique Anglade betrayed the English community with Bill 96. When you see that François Legault doesn't even want to talk to the English community. He refused the debate for the upcoming election while he accepted 4 years ago, because nowadays he doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to speak to non-Francophones, basically. That's what he said. So it shouldn't come as a surprise that Anglophones and allophones are not that interested to vote for a guy who doesn't want to talk to them, and a woman who betrayed them and who was ready to vote in favor of 96 and even wanted amendments that were even worse than what the CAQ proposed. So I think that's one thing. The other thing is the conservative brand in English Canada and in English Quebec means something. It has roots, and people know what we stand for. They know we're center-right. Like, it's something that existed federally and provincially a long time ago, provincially, but federally still exists. So that's one thing. And also, we see the PQ melting. We see the PQ disappearing almost. And we're in a new paradigm. It's a new split in the election for the upcoming election. Anglophones and allophones shouldn't be hostage of the Liberals, and we are offering something else. I think it's time to move on, to stop the feuds of the past, and to say, look, Anglophones and Francophones, we have to work together. We're stronger together. We have to stop fighting for no reason. Bill 96 is not going to improve or not French in Montreal. Mm-hmm. It's just to poke the English community. And
so when you say that about Bill 96 on 98.5 FM.
Like I did this morning, actually.
Okay, so when you say that to Francophones, 96, I would get rid of it. It's not going to help. Isn't there a bit of a freak out?
Yes, a little bit. Some of them, yes, because the PQ wing of the CAQ is freaking out because they think that Bill 96 is an absolute thing. And there's kind of a taboo. No matter what it is, if it's to reinforce French and it's against English, it must be good for Quebec. And it's an a priori that I don't accept. I want to know what results are going to come out of this. How many rights and freedoms are we going to violate by doing that? And is it the only way we can do it? Is there other ways to make sure? Because I'm a Francophone, but not only am I a Francophone, I'm a Quebec nationalist. And I do believe that French in America needs to be protected and promoted. For me, that's very very important, and I have to tell the English community, I don't want Quebec to become bilingual or Anglophone. I want Quebec to stay French, but I want Anglophones to have their basic, their rights, their freedom respected. And currently, I don't feel that the government has the same feeling. And I want to encourage Anglophones to be bilingual, and it's working. We have to stop. 2 weeks ago, I was with the School Board of Montreal, the English School Board of Montreal, and I was so impressed by the figures. Over 3/4 of your listeners, Elias, are going to French schools, French immersion schools, or bilingual schools.
Yep.
And the government didn't need to force them. They didn't need to adopt a bill. They didn't need to send the police in your home to tell you what to do with your kids. You're doing it because you believe in a Quebec where French is the common language and where bilingualism is a richness for every individual living in Quebec.
We're with Eric Duhaime. He's leader of the Conservative Party of Quebec. So this leads me to this. What I don't understand is why do you think Dominique Anglade, okay, can't, why couldn't she have taken that position? You know what I mean? It to me, it's striking that their official position is we're keeping 96, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think's going on that side that they can't say what you just said? You're trying to get Francophone voters. You're not worried about going to 9%, I imagine, right?
No, but the thing is that Dominique Anglade is at less than 10% among Francophone voters. And they told her that she needs to do un virage nationaliste. I don't even know how could you translate a U-turn on
move towards
nationalist,
pro-Quebec nationalist policy, sure.
And so she started that, and then she backtracked because it didn't work, and she's less popular among Francophones now than before she started her nationalist turnaround. So, I mean, it's a lot of confusion. When you're in politics, you have to stop looking at polls and you have to speak with your heart and with your feelings and your ideas. And I think that's what's lacking currently with the Liberal Party of Quebec. And the CAQ is not much better. They're looking at polls and they're trying to say what people want to hear. But, polls change and your convictions shouldn't. And that's the huge problem of the Liberals. I think she's not up for the job, honestly, and I'm saying that she's not a bad person. I like Dominique Anglade. I've met her several times, and she's very humble.
So I just want to know, why do you think you can win in Quebec with a messaging which is 96? I'm going to get rid of it.
Well, we can win because we have to explain Quebecers. And all parents in Quebec understand that. When I said that Anglophones are going to French school, that a lot of Francophone parents would do the same with their kids if they could. They would love their kids to be more bilingual. Yeah. That's my case. My parents didn't say a word of English, and they sent me to a kindergarten in English because they understood that it was a richness for me, and I would do better in my life if I was bilingual. And that's true for both Anglophones and Francophones. That's the kind of message needs to resonate. We and for historical reasons, we weren't able to have that speech. But I think that we've grown up, and I think we're at a point in Quebec where we have to stop thinking about the battles of the past and look at the new reality. The new reality is that we're online, we're open to the world, that English is the dominant language in the world and for the youth that is on the internet, and we need to take that into account.
So from poll numbers, right, which we've talked about for a month, this poll numbers that show you're doing well with allophones and anglophones. But let's talk about, maybe, do you have a real world example of a prominent former liberal, a prominent former CAQist who maybe is Anglophone, like an Anglophone voice that has joined your team that maybe even surprised you?
Well, did you hear about Bonnie Feigenbaum? She was she's a former city councillor in Hampstead. She teaches at Concordia, the business school, at the John Molson Business School. She wrote an op-ed in the Suburban a few days ago saying that she's joining the Big Blue Tent. She used to work for the Liberals. She was on the board of Darcy McGee for the Quebec Liberals. She even worked for the federal MP in TMR. So this is a kind of support that we didn't expect, and I'm very proud and happy to see someone like that is influential in the English community of Montreal, and we need to make inroads like that, because it's not just me who can talk. I need some people that are from the Anglophone community, the English community. But what I'm very surprised, Elias, is that the strong majority of those who are joining in Montreal are not Francophones, they're not Anglophones, they're mainly immigrants, a lot of diversity. Last week I announced 10 candidates here in Montreal. I mean, a Cuban was running, a guy from Africa, another. I mean, it was people from the Arab world. I mean, there's a lot of newcomers, and that's what Montreal is all about. Also, we forget it, but they're more and more present, and those people, our message of freedom does resonate among them.
You can stick around a little longer?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll have a little bit more with Eric Duhaime, leader of the Conservative Party of Quebec. Let's get you over to the news.
Great talk and good company. Every morning, Elias Mackos, CJAD 800.
Continuing our discussion with Eric Duhaime, he's leader of the Conservative Party of Quebec, and the big old Ford Explorer SUV for the campaign has rolled onto our studios. Okay, so Eric, 125 candidates, right? That's what you need. 125 in Quebec, you need 125
Absolutely.
candidates. Quantity versus quality. This is what I want to get to here, because as I see it, what could derail you, what may be in the process of derailing you, in fact, is quality candidates. You need 125. The last time you were in the studio, I said, hey, Eric, too much crazy. I'm out. Now we have 2 weeks. We've got 2 stories. One you ditched. By the way, you ditched one. You got rid of one, right?
I kicked one out.
So what was the tip? What was the tipping point where you said, okay, they got to go?
Well, promoting violence. There's no tolerance for that. We cannot accept as a political party that a candidate is directly or indirectly encouraging people to do something illegal. So for me, that was a no-go.
How did you not find it beforehand? That's a big one.
Because the person deleted her Facebook account before she ran for the party, and she put it back online a few days ago. And that's when people started commenting again on old posts that she's put on. So it was invisible until a few days ago. So that's why. And the other thing also, honestly, it's going to happen again. We don't have the party, the structure of other parties. We don't have the funding of other parties. They receive a few $1 million each per year from the state. We got nothing until a few weeks ago. I had half of an employee for the party, just to give you an idea that we don't have the same kind of resources. We're not it's not a fair fight right now.
Sure.
It's David against Goliath a bit. So it's going to happen again, but I think that it's a test for my leadership. And I think people can see through that, and they can appreciate when there's a crisis, how I'm going to react. I think that's what the most important for voters.
So I get it. You don't have the resources, the funding, and the employees that other parties have, right? There's also the sniff test, right?
What's a sniff test?
It's like it's the quick test that someone does.
It's the dog at the airport, or
it's like
what?
when you want to decide if you should eat something that's in the fridge, right? That's maybe a few days old. Sniff test, and you can decide, right? So the sniff test on candidates would be, in my opinion, right? So you have a discussion. You sit down for half an hour with a candidate, and you just say, "So what do you think of the vaccines?" Right? And once they say it's like rape, you say, "Merci, salut la visite," goodbye. And now you have this other candidate, and he has not been booted from the party, right? So, okay, you made the line. Violence, you're gone.
Out.
Ideas that are a little bit off kilter, like comparing getting a vaccination to rape, that's okay?
No, my English is not good enough to know if it's the exact same word. In French, it's violate. It's viol.
Okay.
And you can say violate. You can say you violate my property, you violate my rights, you violate. You don't. It doesn't mean it has a sexual meaning.
Mm-hmm. But that's how it was taken, right? Like, not just in English, not just amongst Anglophones. This story came out of the French side first, right?
No, because he was using the word viol.
Yeah.
And and he was talking about the obligation of vaccination as being a kind of violation. Mm-hmm. He said it was, not necessarily the best word, but I give him the benefit of the doubt. But obviously, it's, as I said, it's going to happen again, and it's a test, and it's normal that it happens. We're a new organization. We're going to have to face crisis like that one. Yeah. It's all parties go through that at the beginning of the first phase of their growing up, and we're going to go through it over the next few weeks.
How many candidates do you have announced so far?
80-ish, because I'm announcing. It changes every day. Sorry, because there's like 7 to be announced tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to be at 85 or 86 by tomorrow night.
Okay, so you got basically 2/3 done if you're at 80.
Well, we have more than that, but it's like a striptease, right? You don't do it just at one shot.
Yes, very true. That's very true. Don't give it all away.
One piece at a time.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so for our listeners,
yes.
for CJD 800 listeners, at a certain point, it's all fine and great, that you got your principled approach on 96, we can take that. But you're also going to need to deliver, I think, strong Anglophone voices, particularly keeping in mind there's going to be other options, right? Canadian Party of Quebec, Bloc Montréal, which I know they've already announced candidates, and they're focused on Anglophones, that kind of thing. If you go by demographics, right, you got 125 candidates. Certainly would hope 12.5, even find half an Anglo. 12.5 could be Anglophone community, right? Will you get there? Will your party represent Anglos when it comes to candidates in some respect?
I might disappoint you, but I don't really calculate that way.
Okay.
And there's no quotas for my party, but I can tell you one thing. Already, and we only have 80-ish candidates announced, people who are born outside of Quebec are already overrepresented. They come from 17 countries around the world, and I think it's important that the diversity is present. The diversity is not just being a man or a woman or straight and gay. It's also the fact that they come from different places of the world and they choose Quebec to live. And for me, that was important to have that diversity. And those people, even the word Anglophone and Francophone, many of them, they don't even know on which side they should, because many of them are trilingual, and it's very tough for them to decide on which side they are of the fence, because they don't really care. Like you and I, if we speak outside of we might have a sentence in French, one other in English, and those people even their mother tongue as well. So I think we're beyond that division. And then when I was talking about the fact that we need to unite Quebecers, we also have to stop looking at someone and saying he's an Anglais or he's un Français. Let's move on.
Okay, so I want to move on here now to more policy stuff.
Go ahead.
So inflation, obviously, top of mind. You've got a Bank of Canada that's reacting to it as increased interest rates in quite a dramatic fashion, especially what we're used to over the last 20 years as they try to combat that. We'll see if it works. There are a lot of smart people that say, hey, you know what? By the end of the year, we're going to start to see that cooling process take effect. Now, you've had this idea about getting rid of the gas tax, right? Okay. Alberta did it. Okay. Conservative government of Alberta did it. And what we have seen is the retail and processing people have basically taken the rebate that should have come from the gas tax. They've taken it. Gas prices are the same. So the government lost the revenue and the prices remain the same. So sometimes I feel, and here's another thing that, that for a voter like me, that maybe how the Conservative Party loses me, you come out with suggestions policy-wise that are popular. That's not a populist policy. That's a popular policy. Get rid of the gas tax. And it's not a good policy actually fiscally, right? Yeah. So,
First off, the Premier of Alberta, Jason Kenney, has started an investigation, and even they want to go further to make sure that to try to explain what happened there. The second thing, since July 1st, so not even a month ago, Ontario, just next door, did the same. They also do, Doug Ford promised during his campaign that he will lower taxes on gas, and he did. And nowadays, what we see, the gap between the Quebec side and the Ontario side, the gap between the two is greater than the tax. So that means it went the other way around. So there's 1,000 reasons why the price on gas goes up and down, and I think that there's a lot of people who are losing their economic knowledge when they look at it. But I still believe that it's sending the right signal, but it's not the only one. If we really want to help people, and you were right when you said about the interest rates, it's having a huge impact. We say that 1 Quebecer out of 4 is wondering how he's going to be able to renew his loan, and he might lose his house at the end of the day. We need to help those people out, and our way of doing it is to lower taxes, and we want to lower taxes for a worker who earns $80,000 to $90,000 a year. It's about $2,000 of tax rebates that we think they should have to give them a break.
Last question for you here is, you mentioned just before about your candidates. Well, we don't have the staffing or the budget or the funding, right? So how, if you're lacking on that end, staffing and employees and resources, how do you create a platform that is fully fledged out if you don't have the bodies?
Well, there's policy wonks are on the right, on the center right. There's a lot of them, I can tell you that. So we're very fortunate, and they're all volunteers. We had 800 members meeting in Quebec City last November. We adopted a program, and we're using basic lines of the program to have a platform. We're going to present our platform in about 3 weeks, but it's not going to be a surprise for anyone. It's all positions that we already have, and we're going to present that in an electoral fashion. But and for the figures, the actual budget, we'll have to wait a little bit because there's going to be a mise à jour, an update,
yes, a fiscal update
soon. So we're going to wait for the new figures to come out with the exact figures during the campaign.
Thank you for coming on. Come back when the platform is out. Please come back onto the show.
It will be a pleasure.
An idea, those 800 volunteer policy wonks, have them look at the Facebook pages of your candidates before
idea.
they're named.
I'll take that into account.
Eric Duhaime is the leader of the Conservative Party of Quebec.